You wanted the best. Well, they retired. So you got two dudes in a garage.
Talking KISS. Welcome to the Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric podcast. I'm Anthony.
I'm Rocco.
Yes, you are. Little Rocco. Welcome to our version of As the KISS World Turns, where we discuss KISS current events, rumors, news, and interviews with current and past members. Strap in, crank it up, and let's talk KISS. What's up, Father Rocco? Oh, thank you.
How you doing?
I'm Ducky.
Quack, quack, quack.
Oh, now we have ducks on the show.
Yeah.
What other KISS podcast has ducks on their show? The answer is nobody.
None.
Nobody. Where would you like to start? Oh, don't answer that. I know.
You know what? Go, make a
Wait.
left. Wait, make a left. Then make
Uh-huh.
a right. Then
Uh-huh.
spin around like this, and then start at the beginning.
Okay, start at the beginning. That's where we're going to go. I thought this was a little interesting tidbit or nugget that there's going to be no judgment here, but our little demon, Gene Simmons, got into a little, let's call it a Twitter dust-up in the last week or so, and I thought it was kind of entertaining, so I wanted to bring it up to you and to the hooligans. Maybe we'll see what the hooligans think, what their position is on this. Somebody tweeted, X'd, whatever the hell they want to call it today, to our little demon on October 16th. You could have invited Ace and Peter to the last shows and made it happen. You didn't. That's on you. And our little demon's response, I love the response. Here's an example why the word moron exists in the dictionary. This guy has no information and simply makes up his mind about things. Idiot. Fact. We invited both Ace and Peter to join us for last shows. Both declined. Let's start with you, Father Rocco. Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, I'm gonna defend. I'm gonna defend the demon. I know, it's.
Might be an
I can.
unpopular defense.
I don't really care. You know what? I throw shade. He's my favorite member. He always has been, always will be. And there's plenty of times where I throw stones at him. But you know something? I don't give a shit what anybody has to say. He just suffered a loss. That was a brother of his. They've had drama, but you know what? It's their drama,
Mm-hmm.
right? Somebody from the outside, even if that was me, what the do I know? What do I know? I've seen a lot of people throw a lot of shade at Paul and Gene. You know what? The people that know what's up are those four people. You should understand. They've been together for over 50 years. You mean you're gonna tell me they didn't feel that? They built what they have in their entire career with that person, and they've had their ups and they've had their downs. So for people who want to throw shade at Gene when it comes to this particular situation, I have a problem with it.
I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. Don't you think that both Gene and Paul kind of opened themselves up to this kind of criticism by the things that they said and the way they went about business?
Were they allowed to go to the funeral?
Yeah, they were allowed to go to the funeral.
That shit's small. There's a time and place for throwing shade. There's a time and place for that stuff. That's not the time. That's like saying that you're going to assume that they have no feelings.
Look, I'm not saying that
I'm not saying at you. I'm not targeting you.
I'm not saying that I disagree with you, because I agree, and of course I disagree, because, well, that's just genetically the way I'm wired, I guess. But I do agree with a lot that you're saying.
Do I think that they're asshats at times? Absolutely. Both of them, both Paul and Gene. But when you lose a family member, and that's what they did, they lost a family member. We do a podcast I'm no expert on
We do a
KISS.
podcast?
Yeah, I'm not. I know. I want to soften my stance and get past this without being angry. But I have seen. I've been trying to deal with the whole Ace thing. It hit me harder than I expected. We went through that whole thing, and as far as I'm concerned, I love the band Kiss. I love all four members, and for me to think that it was nothing but business and their fake feelings, I'm sorry, I ain't buying it.
No, I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm not going to psychoanalyze a tweet, um, but I don't know that that's what the person was trying to get across. I don't think it was. I don't think it was like it's an act and you guys don't care. I think it was more, and you and I have discussed this.
I guess
I
maybe
think
I'm.
privately in the past. Sooner or later, the bill comes due. It always does. The death of Ace Frehley, the bill has come due. The piss comment, the ignorant statements at times about,
Mhm.
oh, what was Ace drunk? Or all the discussion of Ace's drinking and partying and all of that
But that's what.
probably should have been kept behind closed doors a little more. And then look, I did not even entertain. I saw Kiss twice on the end of the road tour. I did not even entertain going to MSG one of the last two nights, let alone even going to Manhattan on the last 2 days to be a part of that. And it was a principle thing for me that I felt like the last 2 days in Madison Square Garden should have been the four original members. Now,
But
with that being said, let me finish. Let me finish because you're going to be right. That's the 10-year-old Kiss fan in me. That's the Kiss fan that doesn't take into consideration that word after music. That's an important word, music business. Like, I don't know who this guy was that tweeted out what he tweeted out. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I think he's 100% wrong because I believe that as lifelong Kiss fans, and this definitely applies to a lot more people than just you and I, we should get an opinion. Nobody has to listen to it, but we should get an opinion. And, he's free to have his opinion. Like, that's on them. Well, yes, it is on them. And no, it's not on them. We've discussed this before. Ace came out publicly and said he wanted $250,000 to appear. I have no idea whether that's a crazy number or it's not a crazy number. To me, it's a crazy number because $250,000 in your pocket for a show, and I'm sure they were not offering him a show, and I'm sure that that's part of the reason. Is you're going to have Tommy Thayer there, and you're also going to have Ace Frehley there. That's going to create problems that nobody can fix. So I think unfortunately, I think Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter were all put in a complete no-win situation. And I think that, well, I could be completely wrong about this, but to me, if they could have sat down in a room and communicated, maybe they could have come up with something better than what ended up happening, which was nothing. I mean, I paid for the pay-per-view of MSG, and I can't tell you how disappointed I was that if you watch that last night in MSG, if you don't know that that's the last show supposedly forever, you won't know it from watching that show because they just did their show that they always did. It was no different than the two other times that I saw them on the end of the road tour. It was the same show from start to finish. The only difference was a little hoopla in the beginning before they go on, and a little hoopla at the end after they come off, and the avatars. Other than that, like, you didn't bring Bruce Kulick in. He's sore. He was. Now he's the most politically correct, I believe, of anybody that's ever been in KISS. So he didn't make a big deal about it, but he has said in past interviews that they might have dropped the ball a little bit. And they definitely dropped the ball a little bit. I think they dropped the ball a little bit on the surface with Ace and Peter both. But there's also the behind the scenes stuff that I think is what Gene is trying to get across to the fan, that, hey, this didn't go as cleanly or as black and white as you think it went. And I'm sure he's not lying, because I think when you put the four of them in a room, historically, things get complicated quick. And I think that's what happened, is they weren't going to hand out $250,000 checks. They weren't going to tell Eric Singer and Tommy Thayer, hey, thanks for showing up, but we're going to do the last two shows with Peter and Ace. Now, as a fan, I think as a fan, the second to last night in MSG should have been Tommy and Eric. They should have brought Bruce out. The last show ever in MSG should have been the four original members from start to finish. But I also say that knowing it's not realistic. That's where the 10-year-old KISS fan in me stands.
It's a lot to process.
You need a minute?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
I'm going to have
to
a
me,
sip of my coffee out of my Hooligan Nation coffee cup while you calculate and compute.
very nice. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. And as a KISS fan, to me, the last two shows should have been a carbon copy of what the acoustic show was. Everybody interacting, everybody who's been a part of it, celebrating the band before their last shows. But at the end of the day, it's extremely lazy to just always blame Paul and Gene. Because at the end of the day, there's four people that have to negotiate to make that happen.
You're absolutely right. But we both know, because I think we're both guilty of it, and maybe not you, but I'm guilty of it. Peter and Ace, to me, are always the victim. Always. I always have.
Yeah, but they're not I'm definitely different, because Peter has tried to quit the band back in the day 15 times. Ace didn't show up for stuff. Like, they put the bullseye on themselves majority of the time. Not majority of the time. Okay, listen. Do I think that working with Gene and Paul is the easiest thing in the world to deal with? No, not even a little bit. All four of them own this individually as a
All
band.
All four of them should own it.
But that's what I'm saying. They're not victims.
I don't want
to hear that.
The problem is the fifth member, and that's us. That's what the problem is. Like, we. What? Sorry.
No, the best part about it is you almost put your hand like right with it.
Yeah, guys, just so you know, I turned on some crazy thing that Zoom is doing, and I don't know why I turned it on, but
yeah, if you don't see it, it's you see the little hand up there?
Yeah. I don't know why I did it. I knew it was a mistake when I did it.
No, he did it because of all my personalities. So the little things pop up there and just bring me in different directions.
I thought it was cool. The 10-year-old me came out, so like I can do that, and that'll come up there. Yeah,
there it is.
You go. Yeah. I'll try to get rid of that whenever I can, but just ignore it, guys. The problem is the fifth member, which is the fans. We want to be involved in all of that. We want to have an opinion in all of that, and And when we have an opinion, which is always, we speak our mind, and I'm as guilty of it as any other KISS fan, I thought principally it was a terrible ending to a great legacy. And I'll be honest, I gave 100% of the blame to Paul and Gene. And when Ace came out and said he wanted $250,000, I said, "Holy shit, that's crazy. Yeah, you should pay him anyway." And I think that's the majority of KISS fans think that.
Yeah, but there's a business relationship and there's a personal relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when I see a comment like that, that's when it gets me off and hits a nerve because I'm like, nobody's going to tell me that Paul and Gene aren't hurting. And here's the other thing too, okay? And this is where I'll defend the fans 100%. Gene, you know better. Why are you going to go back at? You know that people are going to throw shit out there. Why even bother going back at him? At this stage, he should know better. But
I think that's emotional, and that should go for an educated KISS fan with common sense. You should be able to read between the lines and see that he lashed out emotionally because those things have to be going through his head. Like, I don't care how big of an ego Gene Simmons has, and he probably has one of the biggest egos in the entire world. But he's got to think, hey, did we make a mistake? And I'm not saying that he did, but he's a human being, so he's got to think, hey, did we make a mistake? Should we have brought them two guys back for the last show? Should we have done this? Should we?
And
I don't know that Paul.
Yeah, he's
I don't know
somebody
that Paul.
he would think that way. I don't think Paul would ever regret.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if you cornered Paul Stanley today and said, "Is there anything that you regret?" Paul would say, "Nope, not one thing."
It doesn't make him a bad person. It's just who he is.
I'm not saying it makes him a bad person. I said this. There's no judgment on this. This is 100% opinion. There's no facts in this. The only facts in this are some guy tweeted this to Gene. Gene responded. That's it. There's no judgment of Gene. There's no judgment of the fan because I don't personally have the answer for it because, like I said, I thought in my perfect world, it should have been the four of them walking out there for the last final show. It's a dream thing.
Yeah, this would never happen. But in a perfect world, Ace is like, just, be respectful, offer me something. I want to be a part of it, and jumps in. No, I'm going to play hardball with them. They play hardball with me. I'm going to play hardball with them.
But the problem with that, and I understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying, but the problem with that is I think Ace and Peter both look at it like, well, Gene and Paul wouldn't do that. Gene, I personally...
I'll give you that.
Personally, if I was Ace and Peter, and this is Monday morning quarterbacking at a different level, but if I was them, I would have said, I want $250,000 for the final show. And when they said, no, you're crazy, I would have said, okay, I'll tell you what, whatever you two were supposed to net from the last show, we, the four of us, will donate that to a charity, and all four of us do that show for free. Problem solved.
Yeah, you're right.
Problem solved right there.
That takes a lot of forward thinking, though, and I think that, again, emotions. The other part about this that doesn't get talked about, which definitely plays a part in it, is it's business, but there's emotions involved in the four of them with the business, which clouds the airwaves sometimes. I think because Ace may love Gene, but he feels slighted by Gene with past things and
business wise.
But I'm saying though, you still have emotion that's tied to it.
Yeah, I have to admit I agree completely. I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer in this. I do think that Kiss Cruise Landlocked is a seminal moment in history. If Gene and Paul push to do the right thing, it will do a lot for this going away. If they don't, be prepared for us to be talking about this for a long, long time, because I think the KISS Army is going to lose their mind. I said this in last week's show, and I'll stand by this. They need to do something. I don't think you have to turn Kiss Cruise Landlocked into the Ace Frehley tribute weekend.
Even though it's going to be.
Well, it's going to be with the fans.
The fans, yeah, the Ace is going to own this event.
But Gene and Paul, Pop House, the rest of them, boy, I really hope for their sake that they got something planned that's going to be enough. Well, it'll never be enough, but will be reasonable that at least KISS fans with common sense, and I consider you and I to be KISS fans with common sense. I'm sure people would argue that. But I really hope that we get back from Vegas and we sit down to do an episode and we get to say, yes, they did enough. Yes, it was good. It was perfect, at least to the two of us. You know that there are KISS fans out there that if they turn the entire weekend into an Ace Frehley tribute, it wouldn't be enough. They're out there. I know they are. Yeah. But for the ones that have common sense, I just hope they do enough that people like us can report back and say, hey, they did something. It was classy. It was enough. And I hope some of this goes away. I'm a little nervous that they're not going to, but I'm a little nervous that the pre-party is going to hurt them, because I hope that all of the involved doesn't look at the pre-party and say, they're doing it at the pre-party, we don't have to do it. I think that would be a huge mistake.
Yeah, it would definitely be a mistake. And I don't really, maybe it's delusional thinking, but I don't see it. I really believe, and I'm not saying I'm looking for this to be like this, but it's going to be the Ace Frehley show, in my opinion. I think it's all going to be a lot of, no matter what's going on in there, it's going to flow back to Ace. And I got to tell you something. I don't know about you. It has not turned off yet. I don't know. I'll be cruising along and something pops up every single day that makes me think Ace.
I listened to Three Sides of the Coin this morning, their newest podcast, and they did their Ace tribute like we did, like everybody else did.
Right.
And all the tributes were great, by the way. So if you're watching us, everybody did a tribute. Signals from Mars did a tribute. Three Sides of the Coin did a tribute. Decibel Geeks did a tribute. Podcast Rock City did a tribute. And all the KISS podcasts did a tribute. They all did great jobs. So check them out. But those guys from Three Sides of the Coin, I can't remember which one it was, said, the truth of the matter is, it'll never be the same. And it'll never be gone. It'll fade throughout time, but it'll never be the same because Ace isn't coming back.
But you know what? It's weird. It is what it is. Maybe I'm saying something that people are feeling. I never met the guy, but it's almost like I lost my father how many years ago? Ace hit me. Obviously didn't hit me as hard as my father, and I'm still feeling that every day. But it impacted me like he was a family member. Like you know what I mean? Like, I guess that's the reason we're doing this podcast, because it's that much embedded in who we are as a person. But
and I can only speak for me. And for me, part of the hurt is the fact that it is over. Like it's over. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, if you would have said to me, hey, what do you think about KISS reuniting one more time? It's possible. It's possible. It's not possible anymore. I think, what do you think about Ace, Paul, Gene, and Peter getting into in the studio and recording a single. Oh, it's possible. Not anymore. It's not. I think the reality of that is part of the hurt for me. I also and I brought this up.
Yeah, that's well said, actually.
I brought this up to you. We both chose not to go to an Ace Frehley show this summer.
I think that Peter Criss coming out with an album is going to be in a way kind of like a healing, a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I told the hooligans that we would revisit the box set after having another week to listen to it. We listened to it for another week. I have to admit, I'm still digesting it, but we will talk about it a little more. And you know what? We're probably going to talk about it again at least one more time. First and foremost, I got to give Pop House a lot of credit. I think they did a fantastic job on this box set. I think whoever remastered it did an incredible job, and I don't know off the top of my head who remastered it, but I listened to the remastered studio versions at this point 5 or 6 times, and I think it might be the first remastering of a record that actually made a difference to me, because when you listen to the remastered studio songs, they sound a lot better. There's no drastic changes, but you hear the drums better. Everything sounds crisper. It sounds like an album that just came out today, which it is yeah, I don't think you can ask for anything more than that. The demos and the outtakes, you know, I still have Mistake playing in my head, the one Kiss country song. So to hell with Kiss, and thank you, Kiss, for that. The multiple versions of Rock and Roll All Night, I don't know if you've dug into them yet, but if there's any part of that box set to really dig into, it's the multiple versions of Rock and Roll All Night. I think they call it a party version, which ultimately is terrible. But it's interesting to listen to once or twice. It has like fan noise in the background, kind of, sort of. There's a faster version of Rock and Roll All Night, which, again, was interesting. So that was really cool. And then the live versions, I think there's 2 concerts, Cobo Hall, and there's Davenport, Iowa. And they're great. They're great. I mean, the highlight is them opening a concert with Rock Bottom, which again is interesting.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got the acoustic beginning, and I Rock Bottom's on my list. I like Rock Bottom a lot.
But for me, the biggest thing that this did for me was elevate Alive, because I listened to both Cobo Hall and Iowa, and I don't care what Eddie Kramer did to Alive. He created the perfect live album, and listening to it unfixed is great, but boy, it elevates Alive for me to a completely different level. And it also tells me why it broke the band, why Alive is so revered. It was because they made it perfect. And we've said this on this show before, and I think we both agree with that. I don't care what they do. I don't, I'm listening to Cobo Hall. You can't hear the crowd. It takes away the excitement. It takes away the experience. You listen to a live one and you hear all of that. Yes, they overdubbed. Yes, they fixed things. Yeah, and no, I don't care. I don't care. That is what broke the band, and that is why Eddie Kramer is the godfather.
Well said. I agree with you.
And finally, Peter Criss's new single is out. The full album will be released on December 19th. Before I ask you what you think, for all the hooligans out there that are running around like their hair is on fire, if you have hair, and can't figure out a way to listen to this damn song, because I know personally I spent all of Halloween trying to figure out how the hell do I listen to the song. The easiest way to listen to the song right now is to go on YouTube, because it's all over YouTube. And if you can't find it on YouTube, go to our Facebook group, Hooligan Nation, the KISS-Centric podcast. I have it posted up there. Nobody has removed it yet. And I checked today on YouTube. It's also has not been removed yet from YouTube. But if you want to legally purchase it, you have to go to Apple iTunes, not Apple Music. Can't go to Spotify, it's not on there. Can't go to the rest of the streaming platforms. It is only on Apple iTunes, and you can buy the single for $1.29, or you can pre-order the entire album. Was it $11.99?
No, $9.99. I already did. I
Nine
pre-ordered it. Yeah.
$9.99. And furthermore, if you're a hooligan and you're still having problems, send us an email, and if I can help you out finding and listening to the song, I will, because I know it frustrated the hell out of me. Thank God I don't have Peter Criss's cell phone on speed dial, because I would have called him by about 1 o'clock, because I was
There's no
out
doubt
of my
about
mind.
that. No doubt about that.
Now, did you listen to the song?
About 4 times now.
Okay, what do you think?
I like it a lot. You know what I like the most about it? I'm just going to say it. When I titled Peter Criss's solo album in 78, I titled that album The Kind of Sugar Papa Likes. That's what I titled that album. Okay? I put that in a nutshell right there. This song is not the kind of sugar Papa likes. It's a rock song.
It is. It is.
Makes me happy.
For anybody that hasn't listened to it, or even for some that have listened to it, the first 30 seconds that I listened to it for the first time, I was looking to see if it was an Alice Cooper song.
Yeah, I was wondering if he's around the corner somewhere.
Not a knock. Not a knock.
No,
It
no.
just has an Alice Cooper 1970s feel to it. I was very, very nervous about Paul Schaefer being involved in this album. I can tell you for the first song, I understand where his place is. He's all over the first song, and it really worked. It's a voice that I have not heard out of Peter before. I don't know that I'm in love with it. I do know that there's 10 more songs, and I can't wait to hear the other 10 songs.
Yeah, me
I
too.
know in my heart that there's going to be at least 2 or 3 good songs on that record. And Creepy Crawlers, is that the name of the song? I think it's
Yeah.
Creepy Crawlers.
Hmm?
I would call Creepy Crawlers a good song. I have read reviews that said that the song grows on you. I can tell you that it is growing on me more and more. I listen to it at least once a day, and I like it more every day.
Me too.
That's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's a big buildup, because I said it many times. I'll say it again, that I wanted to see more songs like Black Diamond. I want to see, actually, I want rock songs, and this is a rock song. It's creepy. It's definitely a different twist on his vocals, like you said, but I like it, and it shows more depth. Everybody's known that Peter has more depth to his vocals. He has a really good voice, and this shows a little bit of a range and a little different vibe. I don't want to. I hope that not every song is in that same kind of vocal. I want to hear more of the raspiness,
Yes,
like
I do too.
the Rod Stewart type of a voice. But I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I think, I don't know who decided, I don't know who wrote the song. I don't know who decided to put it out on Halloween, but the timing of the song was perfect. But the timing of the album release, I think, is terrible. December 19th, 6 days before Christmas.
Mm.
I think business wise, that's not the best timing, but hey, when you're Peter Criss and you're almost 80 years old and you put an album out and the first single comes out and it makes someone like me hopeful, that's a good sign.
Second that motion.
A couple other things that I thought was interesting, and I'll put it up here, by the way, if in case somebody didn't see it. But the Peter Criss logo, I think is fantastic.
It's cool.
Yeah, with the cross and the lightning bolt S's. Whoever came up with that, great job.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
The hoopla surrounding the whole album, I think is great. Because I don't know about you, Father Rocco, but I can tell you that YouTube, my algorithm shows about 100 Peter Criss videos a day.
I've been getting a few, not as much, but
It's crazy. Like so many people and so many reviews, and all the reviews that I watched are pretty much like ours. It's like cautiously optimistic. Like we've been burned so many times
true.
that I'm optimistic, but I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
Statement to the hooligans. If you've listened to the song, please put it in the comments or hook up on our Facebook page and make comments on that. This is definitely a KISS event. Everything that Peter's doing right now. So your opinions would be something we're really interested in hearing.
If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a review. And if you just found us, check out our past episodes. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel and you like this episode, please consider hitting the like button, just like that guy, and leaving us a comment. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes, just like that guy. And check out these episodes right here. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for supporting us. And don't forget, we should all lead with love and take care of each other. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.